What's going on, guys? I'm I Played Games, and in today's video we are playing WWF Smackdown for the very first time in the year 2025. I know that might seem hard to believe, but allow me to explain. So my first console was the PS2, and my first wrestling game was WWF Smackdown Just Bring It. And because of that, I never really played the PS1 wrestling games, and that's what this whole series I've been doing on the channel is built around. I pretty much started from the PS2 and played everything from there on, except for like some of the Legends of Wrestling games and stuff that I've covered recently. And so I never even played these games on my own. I did buy, I think, WWF Smackdown like 6 or 7 years ago, and I don't remember if this was the copy or if this was another one that I bought. But basically, it wouldn't play on my PS2 back in the day. Recently, before I'm recording this, I actually tried putting this on my PS1 to make sure it worked before I recorded this intro for no reason. And actually, my PS1 would not play this disc. And so I put it in my PS2 and it seems to work. So we're now going to play it for the first time. I have tried to play it before. The disc didn't work. I don't think this is the same disc, but it might be. Maybe we're going to have to run to an emulator. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. As customary with these videos, we're going to go ahead and check out the front and back of this crappy jewel case I have here. It's cracked. There's stickers there. It's a greatest hits edition, which people don't like the greatest hits edition as far as collecting goes, but I don't really care. $13.99 is what I got it for, and like I said, I don't remember if this is the one I got 6 or 7 years ago or if I got this, since then. We got Mankind, China, and The Rock on the cover, which is beautiful. We got Smackdown 2 on the back of the instruction manual because this was a greatest hits version, so Smackdown 2 already came out by the time, this game came out because it was greatest hits. But we have the disc here, which is just a simple classic silver Smackdown, and we got Mankind, The Rock, and Steve Austin on the back of the jewel case there, or the front of the back of it, if that makes sense. Flipping over to the back, we got all kinds of nonsense going on here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on the screen, and we're gonna read it. All of the top WWF superstars, largest interactive backstage ever. Most advanced season mode. Make decisions affecting rivalries, backstage storylines, and tag teams. The best sports entertainment game to ever hit the PlayStation. Lay the Smackdown. We got a little create a wrestler spot, and then we got all signature moves, taunts, and mannerisms from elbow to eyebrow. Special guest referees also mentioned on there. Oh, I guess there is a revolutionary create a superstar, sliding scales, moves, and personality variables. Somehow I didn't see that. I don't know why. Maybe I'm an idiot. But there we are. It's rated T for teen, animated violence, mature sexual themes, and mild language. Now, I don't know a lot about these games because I never played them, but I do know that Smackdown Just Bring It has a pretty shitty story mode. And I believe from what and I love, and by the way, I love Smackdown Just Bring It story mode, but it is not very good. But I believe these games have a season mode, and I feel like from what I remember, they're more like statistics and like win and loss based and not so much storyline driven. But it does say that there is a storyline, so maybe I just made that up. I don't know. We're going to have to see. But without further ado, let's pop in WWF Smackdown for the PS1 and play it on a PS2 in the year 2025. Let's go. Okay, so there's your Smackdown intro. So that intro was phenomenal. It basically embodied everything great about the Attitude Era in about 30 seconds worth of intro featuring the Smackdown theme. Now, I will say for this video, I accidentally messed up my audio and you can't really hear a word I'm saying, so I'm going to have to do a lot of voiceover in this video. You're not going to get a lot of the live commentary of me playing the game, but trust me, I got a lot to say. So right away, opening up this game, I noticed that there is a create a pay-per-view mode, which kind of surprised me. That feels more like a SmackDown vs. Raw era type thing to have in a game. I didn't think they ever had something like that early on. And then we have season mode, and then create a superstar, that's normal. Belt record, ranking, option, exhibition. Now, ranking, I'd never really quite figured out what that is, but we got the champions here. We got Triple H as the World Heavyweight Champion, Chris Jericho as your Continental, DX, Mr. Ass and Road Dogg as your tag team, Val Venus as your European, Big Boss Man, Hardcore Champ, and Tori as your Woman Champion. And that is not Tori Wilson, that is just simply Tori. Heading on over to the rankings, I was kind of confused because Stone Cold damn near has double the points of like the other top 4 guys, and Triple H is the champ. So why does Triple H have less points than Stone Cold? Somebody comment down below and tell me about the ranking system. I'm kind of curious what that's about. Is it season mode? Is it an exhibition thing? Is it a mix of both? Comment down below and let me know because I'm really curious. There wasn't anything really super special in the options for me to care about, but I did head over to Exhibition and check out the matches, and there's quite a bit of variety in the matches here. I didn't think there'd be this many matches. Now, I haven't played the WWF, like Warzone and Attitude, those games from the PS1 era, so maybe some of those games have these matches, and I'm just out of the loop because I haven't played those. Those will be coming up eventually. I did notice the lack of a ladder match, which obviously this happened in March 2000, so I don't even think any of the TLC matches had even happened at this point, but the first WWE ladder match was in 1992, and this game came out March 2000, so no excuse to not have a ladder match in my opinion, but I don't know, maybe it was just too complicated back then to be able to do that. Looking at this roster, I really liked this roster. The additions of people like, well, first of all, Tori is kind of a rarity because she wasn't even in the company that long as far as I know, and she starts out as a champ. But people like Paul Bearer and D'Lo Brown, X-Pac, Billy Gunn, but he's Mr. Ash, not Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Val Venus, Godfather, D'Lo Brown, Ken Shamrock, Big Boss Man. I know it seems like I'm just naming the people that I'm scrolling through, but those are specifically the people I wanted. Oh, Gangrel's another one. I wanted to mention those people because, you know, I don't know who exactly was in the company by the time Just Bring It came out, but it was only maybe like a year later, and I definitely felt like Just Bring It, looking back at it, because I played that game so much. It was missing a lot of these kind of more fun, goofy characters like Godfather and Gangrel. I would have loved to play with those guys in Just Bring It, and I don't know what the roster size is of Just Bring It compared to this game, and in the actual live gameplay, I did a lot of comparing to Just Bring It because that's the closest thing to this game that I know, and I was pretty surprised, like the bigger variety of characters in this game and wrestlers compared to Just Bring It feels kind of lame in my opinion. I don't know the roster size to compare, but this game felt like it had more variety for sure. Now, I've never played this game before, but I do know enough about it to know that there are not full entrances in this game. It's basically like a video playing in the background, and they come out on the stage, do a taunt, and that's it. But I do think there is a little more, I don't know, something about this to me is better than the Legends of Wrestling entrances. Now, the Legends of Wrestling entrances, if you've watched my last couple videos, I played those games, and they basically walk down the ramp like a robot and do the same taunt, and even though they do get in the ring, they don't get in the ring in this game. I think prefer these types of entrances to the Legends of Wrestling nonsense. And I got that beautiful Gangrel theme, which is one of the best themes of all time in my opinion right here coming up. Where's this man at? What's taking him so long? Where's Gangrel? There he is. What an absolute stud. So moving on to the actual gameplay, I expected this game to play really fast because I believe I had heard in the past that Smackdown and Smackdown 2 play faster than Just Bring It. And honestly, I could kind of see what people mean because, you know, you could see right in the beginning there, I realized there was like a little dodge mechanic with Kane, which I don't know if that was ever even in any other Smackdown game other than, you know, obviously it's probably in Smackdown 2, but you can kind of like dip and dodge out of the way. I thought that was cool. But this game to me actually felt slower than Just Bring It just a tad. I mean, Just Bring It is very fast. The wrestlers don't like. Do you see how Kane body slammed Gangrel right there, and Gangrel actually laid there for a minute? Honestly, it seems like in Just Bring It, like the wrestlers will sell and then get right back up. They never just have a moment where they just like lay there. And so this game actually felt a little slower to me, gameplay wise. Comment down below as well and let me know if you believe that, or is that just in my head? Because it felt slower to me. I was actually surprised. Now, the shadows are a whole nother can of worms. Those things are awful. The polygonal nonsense on the mat there, the shadows of these wrestlers. I don't even recall the PS2 wrestling games having shadows on the mat. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and watch gameplay. It's funny, I've played probably more wrestling games than any other type of game ever in my life, and I don't remember if the PS2 games have shadows. My brain's shot, folks. The gameplay is exactly like the Just Bring It controls, and because that's the only one of these early Smackdown games I've played, that's what I've always called it in my head, is like the Just Bring It controls. I believe Shut Your Mouth has the same controls too, and then they kind of switched them up for Here Comes the Pain. And now the controls aren't too much different. It's just that instead of having the L2, R2 to reverse like Here Comes the Pain, it's got the square button to reverse any move, regardless if it's a submission or a grapple. And then you have like R1 is your button to get out of the ring. L1 is still your finisher. So it's not too much different, and it's very easy to pick up and play. If you've ever played a Smackdown game before, you can pick this up and play it like it's nothing. Now, as you see, I got the KO there, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. One common denominator of a lot of these matches is they don't last very long. Next, I decided to do a hardcore match, just because I love me some hardcore wrestling, and I wrestled as Jeff Hardy going against Big Boss Man, who I decided to use because not only has he not been in very many wrestling games I've played, but he's also the hardcore champion. And it looks like we had 4 weapons here. Now, it looks like each wrestler starts with 2 weapons, one weapon each, and then there's 2 additional weapons outside the ring, so you get 4 weapons total. The weird thing is, though, is that Big Boss Man came out with a nightstick, and there was a nightstick on the ground, so half of our weapons were nightsticks. Considering the back of the game touts that there's some of the most interactable, or whatever it said, backstage areas at the time, I went to go backstage during this hardcore match, and you couldn't get any further than halfway up the ramp, and I was extremely confused. And then I played a Falls Count Anywhere match, and I learned something. I was originally going to do an I Quit match between Mankind and The Rock, but I realized since I couldn't figure out how to get anywhere in a hardcore match, I would do a Falls Count Anywhere match and try to get anywhere. And I eventually realized that you have to Irish whip people into like the stage to get on top of the stage. Then you have to Irish whip someone basically into the curtain to get backstage. Or then you have to Irish whip people into doors to get places. It's not like the later games where there'd be like a little colored thing there and it would be like red and you'd stand on it, it would turn blue for a minute and then it would let you through. You literally had to get Irish whipped or Irish whip the guy to advance, and there's nothing telling you that you should be there or that you need to do it. You just kind of have to figure it out on your own. So we finally got backstage, and me being a SmackDown veteran, I saw this vending machine and I asked myself, I wonder if you can Irish whip somebody into that and a soda can will come out. And that's the kind of thing where I was like, you probably can, but then I was like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of an older game. I don't know if they had that kind of interactive stuff in mind yet. But then boom, Irish whip the Rock and there's a soda can. Obviously stuff would get much more, grander and more interactable, a couple years down the line with like shut your mouth and here comes the pain. But I didn't realize how deep those roots went and that kind of stuff existed even in Smackdown on PS1. I was pretty impressed by that. And there's another Irish whip into the double doors, and now we're in the parking lot. I actually wanted to Irish whip the Rock into that ambulance door because I noticed open doors is basically a hint to Irish whip somebody into that, and then you can, go to that area, whatever area that is. So I was wondering if there's some way you could throw them in the ambulance. I highly doubt it, but, I thought about it. So we ended up fighting in a kitchen, and it reminded me of in Just Bring It, there's an unlockable trailer for SmackDown 1 and SmackDown 2. I don't remember which game it is that has this trailer, but there's a trailer where it shows like wrestlers in real life, like fighting in a kitchen, and then I think Kane does his like thing with his hands going up for pyro. When he goes down, the stove flames go up. And being in this kitchen, wrestling in this kitchen, it reminded me of that. And I was like, man, like I literally probably saw that trailer and Just Bring It like 17, 18, 19, 20 years ago. Now here I am finally wrestling in that same kitchen that I knew about all the way back then. Before I played Season Mode, I decided to do one more exhibition type match, and that was a Royal Rumble, because I figured why not just play the match where I can see all the wrestlers. Now, I did not know that you could just Irish whip people and they would just fall out of the ring. I was playing as Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I was trying to figure out how to make like be Stone Cold but come out in a random order, and I don't know if I just messed it up or what, but it seemed like you had to start from the beginning. I don't know, I probably did something wrong. But we have the Royal Rumble here, and it is really easy to throw people out. Now, I lasted 14 participants deep with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is basically half the Rumble, so I did pretty well, but when you can throw people out as easy as that, I mean, it's not very difficult. I must say, I did really enjoy the Bubba Ray and Devon purple tie-dye outfits. I've never seen those in a video game before other than, like created custom, like WWE 2K stuff. And even the Ken Shamrock with the blue, like there's some pretty colorful outfits. Godfather was wearing green, Val Venus had like purple and blue shorts on. I really liked the attires in this game. The last 3 in the ring ended up being Deborah, Big Show, and Edge, with Matt Hardy already thrown out. And I got to be Big Show. I also don't know if this is something I was doing wrong, but it seems like you can only select a wrestler that was in the spot your wrestler was in when he got eliminated. For example, I could only pick the top left wrestler, which was Stone Cold originally, and then I think I was Vince McMahon, then I was Chyna, then I was Big Show. I did not have a very impressive performance. Regardless though, Edge threw me out, he got the W, I'm a loser. I messed with the create a pay-per-view mode a little bit. It's really not like it would be in later games where you can actually like make your stage and really make your own pay-per-view, customize what your ring looks like. It's very bare bones obviously because this is an old game, but it's still kind of cool that they had that in here. Also, I do like that you can do title matches in creative pay-per-view mode. You don't have to only do title matches in season mode. You can actually fight for titles in non-season modes, which I don't understand why for the longest time in, you know, Shut Your Mouth, Just Bring It, Here Comes the Pain, all those different games. I don't think we even got the ability to fight for titles in basically what's an exhibition match until, what, SVR 06 or 07? So I was like really impressed with that, and I can't believe that was actually in this game, and then they took it out, and then it would come back like years later. I was like, really? And that's what I love about making these videos, is now that I'm playing these older games, I'm getting different perspectives than I ever had before on some of my classic favorite games I used to play growing up. Next, I decided to move on to the Creative Superstar mode, and I have this controversial take that people do not like, that I never cared for Creative Superstar, Creative Wrestler modes in games. I never wanted to play with any wrestlers other than the ones I used to see on TV every week. With that being said, I actually like this Creative Wrestler because it was pretty simple, it was pretty tame, there wasn't like 9,000 different facial things you could change. It was pretty much just like pick your parts and go, and I actually really liked that. Maybe you can call me a simpleton, I don't know, but I really thoroughly enjoyed making this guy. And for some reason, when you put this certain pair of pants and shirt on him, all of a sudden his body would be shaped like an egg. Like, look, his legs are perfect, his legs are perfect, his legs are perfect, and oh my god, what the hell is that? Now, with that being said, I love this guy. I would run through a brick wall for him. Me and this guy are going to win the WWF Championship in season mode, and I don't give a shit who stands in our way. At first, I didn't really understand the skill points. I was confused by it, but as soon as I started pre-season mode, yes, that's right, there's a pre-season in this game, I've got a better understanding of the abilities and the skill points and all that, and I actually love this system. So from the Googling I did, you have to do pre-season before season if you're using a created wrestler. Now, if you're using regular wrestler, you can just go straight to season mode, but obviously I'm using a created wrestler, so I did pre-season, and I was 37th. There's my character, Slob. I was 37th in the rankings. Once you start it and pick your character, you see a little ranking. I'm last, and then it shows house show, which is like, you know, I don't think I've ever heard a WWE game mention a house show before in any capacity. It's almost more something you would hear in like a shoot interview, not something you would see in an actual wrestling game, so I was surprised by that. Then we have a little clip here where Vince McMahon is saying he thinks I have some potential, even though I don't think it ever actually shows my character. It just shows Vince talking to who knows who. I did some Googling, and it seems like they have you doing this for created wrestlers because they basically want you to get your created wrestler leveled up a little bit and a little bit higher in the rankings before you just go straight into season mode, which makes a lot of sense, and it actually feels more like realistic, almost like a sport or something, and I really kind of like that. It's something that's new and refreshing, and it came out 25 years ago, which is pretty insane to be refreshed by something that's 3 years younger than I am. Once you press match, it'll show you the card for the house show, and it's basically just to create a pay-per-view screen, but it's in the season mode, which is fine. There's no problems there. There's a little heart there on the right that's like a health bar, and it looks like Al Snow's is down a little bit. My first match is against Al Snow. I gotta be honest with you guys, I only picked the Godfather's entrance because I wanted to see some hoes. Now, it does kind of work though, because my character looks like he'd be like a adult film director, maybe even talent if somebody calls in sick. I'm sure he could sling it if he needed to. And speaking of slinging it, here comes Al Snow, and he's got head. This match ended with me taking Al Snow's finisher, the snowplow, and then getting a rope break, and then rolling up Al Snow for the victory. What a wimp I am. I did get some skill points. I tried to kind of save them and bank them, but it does not allow you. You have to add your skill points to your wrestler in between every match. But that actually didn't bother me as much as I would have thought, and let me explain why. But before I do, here's how I lost this match to Ken Shamrock, a German suplex with a pin. Then after Ken Shamrock utterly whipped my ass, he then stopped to give me some advice after, and then he was on his merry way. So what I like about the season mode in this game, and I only played a couple matches of preseason, it's that you can access the moves for your wrestler within the season mode screen. Meaning, some of these moves aren't even available to you yet. Like, you can see the technical right there. There's a technical, there's a roughneck, there's a hardcore, there's a powerhouse. There's all these different types of moves are powerful. Then there's different levels to those moves. And essentially, you can't use all the moves in the game until you've leveled up your character enough to be able to do so. So it's not like the other wrestling games where like there's like a shop zone and you have to buy move packs, or something like even some of the games where like a lot of moves or way more moves are available to you from the start. It's just that your wrestler is so weak that you can do the moves, but the moves aren't doing any damage. It's that until your wrestler is leveled up enough, the moves aren't even accessible to you, which is something where I look at that and I just go, oh my god, I want to unlock all those moves. It's like a carrot on a stick that encourages you to want to play the game. Also, leveling up your character in season mode and changing the moves and stuff is all built into the season mode screen. You don't have to back out and go to create a wrestler to change their finisher like you would in a SmackDown versus Raw game. It's literally all in the season mode screen. I love that. But what did I think about WWF Smackdown? And yes, I did shave my face. I got surgery the day after tomorrow, and I don't want to have to stand up on my foot that I'm getting surgery on and shave my face. So you got babyface Tyler at the end here. But I did think this game was fun. It wasn't nearly as chaotic as I thought it was going to be. I kind of think like the beginning SmackDown games, SmackDown 1, SmackDown 2, and Just Bring It, they have a reputation for being very fast and chaotic, but I actually seem to think that this game was slower than Just Bring It. Maybe I need to go back and play a couple matches of Just Bring It, but this game actually felt like I could control more what was going on. It wasn't as chaotic. I love the roster. I love the season mode. I even enjoyed the created pay-per-view audience ranking. I didn't even play it, but I read a guy on Reddit that would play the creative pay-per-view mode and try to get like a better audience ranking every time. And stuff like that is great, and that is why I make videos like this, because I miss when games could keep you entertained for hours and weren't begging at your doorstep for money. Can I have more money for microtransactions? I hate that shit. And this game is the epitome of what a game can be. Different game modes, they're deep, they're entertaining. You don't have to spend a single dime after you start it. Obviously, you couldn't have, because this was an era that didn't have microtransactions. But this sort of game is what makes me miss the golden age and back when I was a kid playing these games, and you weren't thinking about money. You were just thinking about fun, table match, cage match, this match. That's all you were thinking about, and that's all a wrestling game needs to be at the end of the day. Because I'm going out for surgery, I think I'm going to start a series where I continue the preseason mode and go through the season mode on this game, because ultimately I need to know where the SmackDown series got its roots, and I'm not going to do that by not playing the season mode. So keep a lookout on the channel for a series where we play through the season mode of SmackDown. If you guys liked the video, give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new here to TapPlaysGames. I'm Tap, I Play Games. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.